What's up, AJ? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna share the link with my friends. So it's gonna be a little buffery. Yeah, that's because I was sharing. I'm sorry. So I'm hoping to read the next 2 chapters of Pure Animal. I think I got past chapter 2 with you, but I'm just gonna. Okay. Sorry. I got a random. One of my friends said they'll try and come to my stream. Doesn't matter. I'm probably gonna have to cut it early anyway because my mom's gonna come and then pick me up to take me to the library because I have some books I need to return before we go to Florida. So, yeah. I might pick it up afterwards. I might not. It depends. Anyway, for anyone who's gonna watch this later, I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm starting at the very beginning of chapter 2. Whether that's where we got to last time or not, like the last stream you joined. I've just noticed it's all wacky. Um, so I'm just gonna start off at the same spot, and if you want to, actually no, I should start on chapter 3. I'm gonna start on chapter 3 because I'm pretty sure I got past chapter 2 in my last stream. Hello. So I'll start on chapter 3. I might do 3, 4, and 5 today. So yeah, I'm just gonna read. If you don't want to listen, it's cool. You know, you can watch it later when it goes up. Let me get to chapter 3. I should have set this up beforehand. I'm sorry. Okay. This chapter. Here we go. So, chapter 3. 728 suns later. Let me position this. There we go. Freezing Rain decided that if she started to run, he would too. So she took off in the opposite direction. Not wanting to be left behind, Blowing Wind followed her. Looking behind her, Freezing Rain saw him following her, so she sped up just a bit. Liking the wind on her face, she felt her wings open just a bit. No, she told herself. I can't and won't start flying. That will make Blowing Wind even more upset about how he can't fly. He's constantly thinking about that. I don't want him to feel even more useless. Immediately, her wings closed tightly against her sides. She skidded to a stop with her ears perked up, twisting, looking for any sound. Blowing Wind seeing that she stopped. Running stopped where she was, too. What's the matter? He whispered to Freezing Rain. Shush! She scolded. I smell no furs. Blowing Wind sniffed around. Suddenly, the smell hit him hard. Oh, yuck! Sorry, I'm out of frame, aren't I? I'm back. I haven't smelled a scent like that for 15,330 suns, he yapped. Freezing Rain lifted a wing over his mouth and mouthed, Quiet. She looked around, then motioned for him to follow. Stepping as if she was stalking a moose, she followed the scent. You're the only one here. I'm reading. If you don't want to listen to my story, just leave. I am having fun. This is fun to write. I'm sharing it. I don't know why I just immediately grabbed these, but yes, I'm threatening you with nail clippers. Stepping as if she was stalking a moose, she followed the scent. She saw only one gopher. The gopher had its 2 paws up to its mouth. It looked like it was calling for some wolf or thing. Minnow! Minnow, come here, girl! Suddenly, an animal whispered behind Freezing Rain. Her high-pitched voice squeaked. "Help me! My owner won't let me be wild and free!" Freezing Rain jumped and scared Blowing Wind, who replied first. "Who are you?" "I am Minnow." "You don't look like a minnow." "I know, my owner is like that, but she gets mad at me if I attack a squirrel. I see you guys hunt all the time near my home, and I really, really want to be wild and free like you. Plus, I look a lot like a wolf, don't I?" She rambled on and on, hardly even taking a breath. Freezing Rain gave them both a dirty look and said, "The Nofer is coming towards us." Instead of looking scared, she unsheathed her claws and started to growl. The Nofer got closer, and Freezing Rain could hear it calling, "Minnow! Minnow, come here right now!" Freezing Rain looked at Minnow. She had fear in her eyes. "Please, please act like you are eating me. She'll leave me alone then." Freezing Rain barked her approval. "I am hungry," she thought as she looked at Blowing Wind. "Eat her," she howled as she hit the pup hard, but with sheathed claws. She then crouched down and started to act like she was eating. Blowing Wind copied her and started to faux eat Minnow. They both heard the Nofer gasp and run away, wailing, "No, not my Minnow!" When it was far enough away, both Blowing Wind and Freezing Rain looked up. "Thank you, thank you, thank you!" Minnow yelped. "I'm free!" "Yeah, well, now we got some of those Nofers with killing claws on our tail," Freezing Rain replied with a stretch of her wings. Minnow jumped away. "Wait, wolves have wings?" she asked curiously. Freezing Rain hesitated. Then she took a deep breath and said, "Only certain wolves. We're outcasts from our packs since we are different." Blowing Wind puffed out his chest. Oh, shoot. Blowing Wind puffed out his chest and said, "I'm learning how to fly. Freezing Rain here has flown her entire life, so I'm learning how to fly from her." Suddenly, Freezing Rain heard sirens in the distance. "Run!" she howled. "The killing claws are here. They found us." This time she opened her wings and said, "Minnow, get on. Blowing Wind, run as fast as you can." Minnow jumped on Freezing Rain's back. Then Freezing Rain said, "Hold on." She expected to feel claws dig into her flesh, but she didn't feel anything. She didn't care. They had to get the heck out of there before the Nofers opened fire. "Ah!" Minnow yipped as she started to slip. Suddenly, Freezing Rain felt the weight decrease on her back. She knew Minnow had slipped off. Freezing Rain dived down and caught her by the scruff. Minnow let out a squeal of pain that soon turned into laughter. Freezing Rain rolled her eyes. When they were at a safe distance, she landed and dropped Minnow. "What was that? You were supposed to hold on with your claws," Freezing Rain scolded. Minnow looked down. "I didn't want to hurt you." Freezing Rain's gaze just softened. "I understand, but I understand that you don't want to hurt me, but I've been in my own fair share of fights. You don't have to worry about hurting me," she explained. "I've been hurt worse than a pup sinking her claws into my back." That seemed to make Minnow feel better. "Why do you call me a pup?" she asked wryly. "I'm not a pup. I'm a full-grown husky." Freezing Rain considered this for a while. "Well, you're a pup because you have not acquired the skills that most wolves have by your age. Until you acquire these skills, you will not be considered a full-time grown wolf. Also, you act like a pup, so in my eyes, you are a pup until you act like a grown wolf," she explained. "What do you mean by skills?" "Go join them. It's fine. I got other friends on here. Well, not on right now. Other friends might join. If not, then I'm just going to read these two, put it up, and call it good." I do tend to reply to your guys' comments way too much and just, yeah, I don't do what I'm going to say I'm going to do. So yeah, go. It's fine. "What do you mean by skills?" "You have to learn how to hunt and attack. Most wolves by your age know how, but you're an exception. That and you're not a real wolf." "I am too," At least I think I am, Minnow whimpers. Freezing Rain looks at Minnow, sympathy in her eyes. Minnow, she says slowly, real wolves don't live with the no furs. Only our cousins somehow have the ability to live with their stench. Shaking her head, she walks away. Okay, hop onto my back. She barked over her back. Minnow ran over and jumped onto Freezing Rain's back. Thanks. Now, Minnow, Freezing Rain said softly, you have to sink your claws into my flesh. Minnow looked hesitant. Don't worry about hurting me. I've been through a lot worse, she added. Finally, Minnow unsheathed her claws into Freezing Rain's back. Freezing Rain let out a sigh of relief and took off. Blowing Wind looked back and saw that he was so far ahead of them and decided to wait. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Sorry, I lost my spot. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Blowing Wind looked back to see Freezing Rain zoom past with Minnow clutched against her back. Hey! Hey, wait up! He howled as he struggled to get back. Looking back, Freezing Rain giggled and went faster. That isn't fair now, is it? Blowing Rain yowled to her. In fact, he was actually enjoying this. Deciding that he might as well try to fly, he jumped and flapped his wings. Remembering what Freezing Rain said about the birds, he looked to one for help with flying. Peace. Paying close attention to its wings, he saw that they were a square-like circle. Trying that out, he noticed that he was flying. Yes! He howled to the trees. Doing that same motion, he tried going faster. Soon he was right next to Freezing Rain. Freezing Rain looked to her side and saw Blowing Wind right next to her. Ah! She yapped. Gods, you scared me. Blowing Wind looked down guilty. I'm sorry, he replied. I didn't mean to scare you. Or could easily find them still. Blowing Wind lifted his nose to the sky, trying to find either his or Freezing Rain's scent. This way! Blowing Wind pointed to the west and flew in that direction. Freezing Rain had no choice but to follow him, knowing that he had found their scents from earlier. Wait up, I'm coming! She howled. Blowing Wind slowed down. Come on, slowpoke, he taunted. Freezing Rain shook her head. He could be so annoying. Hey, I'm faster than you. I learned how to... Oh, hey, I'm faster than you. I learned how to fly 2,556 suns before you, she howled. Blowing Wind chuckled and shook his head. Well, then show it, he howled. Back, just to notice her zoom past him. His eyes widened. Or not, he thought to himself. I honestly don't want to see her go full speed. She'll leave me behind. Freezing Rain looked back and surprised at her own speed. She pushed harder to see how fast she could go. Rain, wait up! Blowing Wind howled at the top of his lungs. Just then, Freezing Rain noticed how fast she was going and slowed down until Blowing Wind was next to her. She looked back at Minnow. Her eyes were as big as saucers. Sorry, she apologized to Minnow. I didn't know you could go that fast, she stammered, and I accept your apology. Freezing Rain nodded, grateful that Minnow wasn't a curl pup. Blowing Wind then caught up, panting. Let's take a break, he suggested. Freezing Rain nodded. That's a good idea, she replied. We all need it. Blowing Wind lowered his wings with a sigh and laid down. Freezing Rain soon heard Blowing Wind start to snore. She looked over her shoulder and said, Minnow, you can go rest too. Minnow looked up gratefully and yawned. She got off Freezing Rain's back and fell asleep next to Blowing Wind. Freezing Rain sighed. This sigh was one of love. She knew that this was her family now, her pack. Blowing Wind opened his eyes to see that Freezing Rain fell asleep while she was watching over their camp. He shook her awake. "Rain," he said gently. "Time to wake up." Freezing Rain opened her eyes. "Huh?" she replied drowsily. She looked up and saw that Blowing Wind and Minnow were awake. She shook her head to get rid of the sleepiness that still had its strong grip on her. I am shedding like a dog. Not kidding. This is bad. How bad I'm shedding. Stop shedding. Yeah. Okay. Can I just rest here a little longer? She asked, slowly falling asleep. Blowing Wind looked up to the sky. Give me a sec, he replied as he took off. Coming out of the trees, he saw that it was almost dawn. They had slept for a good 9 hours. Give her an hour, he told himself. Then she has to get up. He flew back down. 1 hour, that's all you get, Blowing Wind ordered, but then he noticed that she was fast asleep. He decided to check if she was sick. He sniffed her to see if she smelled off. "Minnow, come here," he barked. She ran over to Blowing Wind. "Come sniff her. If she smells off, tell me," he commanded. She nodded, glad to be asked to do something. She immediately started to sniff around Freezing Rain. After about 10 minutes of this, Blowing Wind sat down. "I think she just pushed herself too hard," he replied. "Let's let her rest." Blowing Wind then realizes that Freezing Rain needs some water. He jumps up. "Minnow, with me," he commanded. "Get on my back. We need to get Freezing Rain some water." Minnow does as she's told and gets on Blowing Wind's back. Blowing Wind takes off into the air, Minnow clutching to his back. Clutching to him. That should say, that'd be better. Less redundant. This is my favorite part. You guys get to meet one of my favorite characters. At least one that I had the most fun writing. You'll love him. Trust me, you will. But me doing his voice, that's a completely different matter. I'm gonna screw this up. Leaves rustle. A mysterious animal pokes around. "Who's this?" he questioned softly. Its accent very heavy. He came out of the forest and padded towards Freezing Rain. God. If you haven't noticed, I can't do voices well. "I don't want her to be alarmed. Most wolves don't like seeing random animals in their territory." He gently nudged Freezing Rain. She groaned. "Not yet, Blowing Wind. 10 more minutes." He laughed. "I ain't Blowing Wind." With that, Freezing Rain jolted awake, her claws unsheathed. "Who are you, then?" "My name is Vladimir, meaning courage of many." Freezing Rain sat down. She has never heard of Vladimir. And she knows most of the animals in the forest after thousands of suns traveling. "How did you get your name? If I'm correct, and I usually am, you had to earn the name Vladimir." "You're right. I earned this protecting myself from a horde of those no-fairs that wanted my pelt for themselves." Freezing Rain's eyes widened. "That it truly is a great feat. Those no-fairs are too greedy for their own good." Vladimir nodded shyly. Her eyebrows furrowed, and she cocked her head. "Why did you wake me?" Vladimir sat there for a moment. Freezing Rain could swear he looked stumped. I thought you looked friendly. I'm lost and I can't find my way home. Freezing Rain looked sympathetically at him. That sucks. I know how that feels. I guess I should help him. It would be rude if I didn't help him. Gotta change chargers. Now my phone needs to charge. Come on. There we go. Should be charging now. And now it's not gonna want to. It doesn't want to stand up now. Freaking charger. Cool. Let's get back to the story. I might just finish this one to get my lunch because I am hungry. Okay. There we go. Blowing Wind lands by a stream. Minnow, go look for some moss, he barks. Minnow jumps off his back and rushes to find some moss. A few moments later, Minnow appears with a mouthful of moss. Okay, he confirmed, his gruff voice breaking a little bit. That's good. Minnow drops the moss. Now do as I do, he commanded as he plunges the moss into the water. Minnow then plunges her own bunch of moss into the water. After a few minutes, Blowing Wind brings his moss out of the water. Minnow does the same. Now give it to me, he barks after Minnow brought her moss out of the water. Minnow hands it to Blowing Wind. Now get on my back, he commanded as he grabbed the moss in his claws and mouth. Minnow hops onto Blowing Wind. He winces in pain as Minnow once again unsheathed her claws to better grip his back. Okay, not much longer. Blowing Wind propels himself as fast as he can go, which isn't as fast as Freezing Rain, but it's still really fast. Minnow sniffs the air. Blowing Wind? She asked hesitantly. Blowing Wind cocked an ear to show her that he was listening. She then sniffed as loud as she could to show him. Blowing Wind took the hint and sniffed. His eyes shot up. Oh, crap! He howled and dropped the moss that was in his mouth. Freezing Rain! Freezing Rain! Minnow started to howl as best she could, calling for her. He pumped his wings as hard as he could. Who would have found us? This isn't good. This isn't good at all. The wind whistled in his ears. The ground passes in a blur. Sniffing, he found that Freezing Rain's scent was dominant here. He dove down. Landing, he saw a tiger talking to her. Growling, he charged before Minnow had a chance to hop off. What are you doing? He growled. Freezing Rain's eyes widened, her heart beating fast in her chest. She jumped in between Vladimir and Blowing Wind. That's enough, Blowing Wind! Leave him alone! She growled back. Blowing Wind backed up, simmering with anger. Freezing Rain sat down. Taking a few minutes to calm herself down, she looked at Blowing Wind, then Vladimir. Vladimir just looked scared. Just that. She had no idea why Blowing Wind was acting like this. Blowing Wind looked enraged. Suddenly, she stood up and started to pace. Maybe, just maybe. Well, actually, I don't know. Could have Blowing Wind been onto something? No, I think he's just territorial. He would have been like this if he was here when Vladimir just got here. Something does feel off about this tiger. Like, why is he here in a forest instead of us in a swamp or grassland or rainforest? She stopped pacing. Turning towards Vladimir, she asked, Why exactly are you here? I told you, I got lost. Blowing Wind scoffed. But in a forest. There isn't any swampland around here. No, nor grassland or rainforests. Vladimir now looked really terrified. There was no way for him to explain to these wolves, so he simply shrugged. Okay. Blowing Wind narrowed his eyes. Tigers? like yourself, don't just appear in the woods. You you are hiding something. I don't know what, but you are hiding something. Blowing Wind gestured to Freezing to follow with him. Yes? She asked. This tiger could be dangerous. Very dangerous. You have to cast him out. I know, but what if all that he's hiding is that some no first captured him and he was just a cub? I would be mortified if that happened to me. He can follow us for now. We can decide what to do with him later. Okay, but if he even shows the slightest sign of being dangerous, I will kill him myself. Okay, so I'm going to leave that here for just a little bit. I might do another stream after I've eaten. I know this is like 25 minutes, but I'm starving. It was a bad idea to stream before I ate. So yes, I'm going to go get some food, and then I'll be back on. Thank you all for watching this. If you liked this chapter, please leave a like, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below.